Man, I wonder if there's some way to stream this game from my PC to my Steam Deck. There's definitely a way to do that. Have you heard of Sunshine? Yo, Sheed. Yeah, I've heard of Sunshine, but isn't it super complicated to use? Yeah, Sunshine takes a little bit of tinkering to get things absolutely perfect, but there's actually a new app called Apollo that's based off of Sunshine, and it makes things a lot easier. Let me show you. All right, before we get into why Apollo is better, let's talk about the benefits of streaming games from your gaming PC in the first place. Smaller handheld devices today are just not powerful enough to really run demanding games like Cyberpunk or Black Myth Wukong, especially at high fidelity. But by streaming the game from your PC to your handheld, you can virtually play any game at better graphics, and it saves a ton of battery life on your handheld versus running the game on the device locally itself, since it's actually your PC that's doing all the hard work. Now let me go over why Apollo is so much better and how it's different from Sunshine. Also, it's way better than Steam's native remote play. So if you don't already know, Sunshine is an application that runs on a host like your computer, and it allows other devices or clients to connect to your PC in order to stream the gameplay. Meaning you can run a graphically intense game like Black Myth Wukong on your high performance gaming rig and streaming it to your phone, your Steam Deck, ROG Ally, or pretty much any device that runs any of these operating systems. Now on the client side, you will need an app called Moonlight to actually connect to the host, but more on that later. Now there are two main reasons why Apollo is so much better and easier to use than Sunshine. One, it matches whatever is the resolution and the max frame rate on your client device to your PC automatically, meaning you no longer have to create custom configurations and fiddle around with the settings to get a perfect streaming experience. Once you connect the client to your gaming PC, it will create a configuration for that device and always remember it for next time. The actual way this works is by creating what's called a virtual display on your PC, which means all of your existing windows and your physical displays will actually not be changed in any way. And second, it can even automatically turn off your physical displays when you connect and turn them back on once you disconnect. Pretty cool, right? But enough explaining about how it's better, and now let's actually get to setting up Apollo on your gaming PC. So currently Apollo can only be used on Windows PCs for now, but the creator has stated that support for Linux and maybe other operating systems will be added in the future. If you already have Sunshine installed on your computer, then you first want to make sure that it's completely uninstalled and deleted, or else you will have a lot of issues trying to set this up, and your PC may get confused on which configs to use, and your devices could also get confused on which host to connect to. If you've already uninstalled Sunshine or never had it in the first place, then great. We're going to go ahead and install Apollo using this GitHub link, and I'll make sure to leave it in the description below. We want to go over to the right here where it says releases and download whatever is the latest version of Apollo. If you scroll down here, you'll see in assets, it'll say apollo.exe, and this is the file that you want to download. Once you have that downloaded and installed, we're going to move over to the setup, which is actually pretty quick and easy. I already have it downloaded and installed, so we're just going to skip that step. Now the UI for the app will actually be inside your web browser, and to bring it up, you can go down here, click in your search menu, and type in Apollo. You should see the Apollo app come up. Once you click on it, it'll bring up your web browser with the Apollo app. And for me, I already have it installed and I already set it up. But for you, if this is your first time using it, then you should see a box that says input a username and password for the very first time. Once you're logged in, there's a few things that we want to change before connecting any of your clients. So we're going to go to the top and click the applications tab. And here you'll see all of the applications that the Apollo server can run once a client connects to your computer. As you can see, we have desktop and Steam Big Picture mode. We're going to go ahead and click on the big blue button for edit for Steam Big Picture mode and scroll down, and you want to get to a setting that says always use the virtual display. You want to make sure that this is checked, because without this checked, then it's pretty much no use to using Apollo. It's not going to create the virtual display, and you're not going to get those features that I mentioned earlier in the video. So for every application that you have in Apollo, or if you add a new application, you want to make sure that always use virtual display is toggled. And if you want to add any new application here, you just want to make sure to press this big blue add new button on the bottom left, and you can select your application name and then find the commands that you want to attach to it. All right, now let's connect our very first client. And to do this, we need to install an app called Moonlight. And installing Moonlight is going to be different depending on which device you have. For this video, I'm going to demonstrate with my Steam Deck OLED. And to get Moonlight, you're going to need to go into the desktop mode on the Steam Deck and then go to the link that I'll provide in this video and then just download Moonlight. It's also helpful to add Moonlight as a non-Steam game so that you can use Moonlight when you're in your game mode on your Steam Deck and you don't have to use desktop mode. All right, once you have all of that set up, you can go ahead and open up Moonlight, and let's click play. And as long as your device is on the same network as your gaming PC, you should see your PC automatically show up here. From here, we're going to want to click PC, and then it's going to ask us to enter a pin on your host PC. This is where you want to go back to the Apollo UI and set things up. Now we want to go back to the Apollo UI and click on the pin tab at the top here, and then you want to make sure that pin pairing is selected. Here is where you want to enter your pin. Mine is 4957, and then you want to enter your device name. So I'm gonna just put Steam Deck here and then press send. Now we paired successfully, and now you'll see that our Steam Deck comes up here right in the bottom. And if we take a look back at the Steam Deck, we can see that we are now successfully connected because there's no longer that lock symbol here. And when we tap on PC, we can now see all of the applications that were available to launch on your gaming PC. But before we click on any of these applications, I want to show you something real quick in the Apollo UI. Now, when you go back to the pin tab in the Apollo UI, at the bottom, you'll notice we have device management, and these are all of the devices that you have already paired with Apollo. And if you click this blue pencil icon, it'll edit the configurations here, and this is where I want to show you. Here are all the list of the permissions that the Steam Deck is able to use whenever it connects to Apollo. And we want to make sure that all of these are green, and that's good. When you set up your very first device with Apollo, these should already all be green, but if you add any new devices after that, then these won't be green by default. You'll have to manually select these to make sure that the device has the correct permissions whenever you connect to your gaming PC. So make sure you go back to this tab whenever you're adding a new device to make sure it has the right permissions, or you will have issues playing games. Now going back to the Steam Deck, let's select Steam, and it's going to start Steam Big Picture mode on the gaming PC, but it's going to be playing it on the Steam Deck. And that's it. Or story-based games, but I still wouldn't play games that require super low latency like fighting games or fast-paced first-person shooters, because you'd be really putting yourself at a disadvantage, honestly. Now, of course, to get the best experience, this is all going to depend on your internet, so you need to make sure that your PC is hardwired using Ethernet and that you have strong Wi-Fi connection to whatever device you're using. If you want some tips and advice on how to optimize your internet to get better speeds and lower latency, then check out this video that I made recently. I'll put it on the screen somewhere here, and I'll also leave a link to it in the description below so that you can make sure that you have the best internet setup for your gaming. Now, to make this setup even better, you can also enable Wake on LAN on your gaming PC so that even when it's sleeping, you can turn it on remotely and start playing your games right away without ever having to touch your PC at all. Turning on Wake on LAN may be different depending on your PC, your motherboard, and your internet setup, but in general, you need to do these two steps. The first step is you're gonna need to go into your BIOS and turn on Wake on LAN. To enter your BIOS, you wanna restart your PC, press the delete key or the F12 key, and make sure you look for a setting called Wake on LAN. It should be somewhere in the advanced section, the network section, or the power management section, something like that. Once you find this setting, make sure it's toggled on and you wanna save and exit your BIOS, because now step 2, we need to enable Wake on LAN in Windows 11 itself. Turning this on in Windows is a little bit simpler. First, you need to go and open your device manager. To get to your device manager, you need to type in your search bar, device manager, and it'll pull up this window that we see right here. Once you have device manager open, you want to look at the network adapter section and find whatever is your network adapter that's your PC is using or that your motherboard is using. For me, it's this Realtek Gaming one right here. Once you have that selected, you want to right click on it, go to properties, and then if you go to the advanced tab, we can see and scroll down here this Wake on Magic Packet. We need to make sure that this is enabled in order for Wake on LAN to work. What a magic packet is it's basically some data that another computer or device sends to your PC while it's sleeping in order to wake it up when it's sleeping. Once you have both of those steps complete, you're all set. Now you can put your PC to sleep and turn it on remotely using the Moonlight app. Let's do it real quick to show you. So right now I'm gonna put my PC to sleep real quick. You're gonna see my screen will turn dark. I just put it to sleep. Everything's asleep right now. It's not running. Let me wait for it to go all the way to sleep though. Okay, my PC is fully asleep and I have my Steam Deck out here. I'm gonna tap on my PC and then tap on Wake PC and you'll see it turn on. Yep, and now it's back on. Even though I haven't connected to it using Moonlight yet, I was able to wake up my PC while it was sleeping just from my Steam Deck. I didn't touch my PC at all. Now, another extra tip, if you want to make sure that your physical monitors turn off whenever you're gaming remotely using your Steam Deck or whatever device, first you need to connect to your PC using Moonlight like we have here, and then you can go to your display settings on your PC itself. So if we go into our display settings, we see we have three windows here, sorry. We have first two are my physical displays, and this third one is actually the virtual display. Now we want to make sure to disconnect all of your physical monitors in order so that the last one, the virtual display, should be the last one left. So you want to click identify to make sure that before you're disconnecting, it's actually the monitor that you want to disconnect. And then while we have this monitor selected, we want to click this option and then click disconnect this display. We keep the changes and then we want to do that for the second display as well. So we'll click that and disconnect the display. Okay, now we have both of my physical displays disconnected and the only one left is the one that's on the Steam Deck right here. As you can see, I can still use my mouse and move it because it's pretty much like an extended display that's connected remotely to my computer. Now you only need to set this up for the first time. Once you do, it'll always disconnect your physical displays whenever you connect using Moonlight, and then once you disconnect, it'll bring them back on. So I'm gonna disconnect right now and show you that my physical displays will come right back up. All right, so we're disconnecting, and now my display is back up, just like that. Now my last tip that I have is if you have an HDR compatible device like the Steam Deck OLED, then you wanna make sure to turn on HDR streaming so that you get the best quality whenever you're playing games. Now in order to do that, you need to do two things. First, you need to go to your Steam Deck or whatever device that you're using and go to Moonlight. But before you actually open an application on the Steam Deck, you wanna click the Moonlight settings in the top right, and then scroll down and you'll see this toggle on the right hand side that says enable HDR. It's experimental right now, meaning that you may have some issues with it, but if you enable this and then play a game that's HDR enabled on your Windows PC, then you'll have the HDR stream directly to your Steam Deck or HDR compatible device, and you can game in HDR. Anyways, that's it for this video. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments, or if you just want to learn more about Apollo and Sunshine in general, then go to the links that I mentioned in the description to the GitHub for Apollo and Sunshine's website, because Sunshine has a lot of helpful tutorials and documentation as well on how to get this set up.